July 2025 was a quadruple retrograde, forcing you to doubt and then reroute. Last month, four planetary bodies, Neptune, Saturn, Mercury, and the asteroid Chiron, pulled their retrograde review, which forced you to confront some things you hadn't previously been seeing. So the question for August is, are you sure where you're going now? Over the last 30 days in July, you may have run the risk of some false fantasies, pursuing people or things that weren't quite what they seemed. Then you were faced with the responsibility of right action, needing to have the courage to call the cards, confront things head on, and make some decisive choices. Then you probably had to avoid the temptation of repetition, the urge to let past people or past patterns continue to show themselves again. And sometimes you may have even had to resist the allure of letting old hurts or even old self-doubt creep in and keep you from moving forward in new ways. And finally, you probably had to pass the test of truthful communication, reviewing contracts and documents, texts, things people were saying, promising, and claiming, making sure that people's words and actions truly lined up, and also your own communication, meaning making sure that you were really saying what you want and what you need. August concludes the summer Mercury retrograde cycle, helping you to clarify what really is for you, know what right move to take next, and get to the heart of the matter. Speaking of heart of the matter, romance and business partnerships also take the front seat during the months of August and September. In the global economy for August, money markets will make two distinct shifts. The first shift will be towards the emotional and intuitive sides of money. The second shift will be towards the creative and identity-defining aspects of money. Also curious in August is the fact that U.S. Federal Reserve Board member Adriana Kugler will be resigning on August 8th, a very powerful date popularly known as the Lionsgate portal. But this is going to leave a huge vacancy in one of the world's largest financial organizations. It'll be interesting to see who U.S. President Trump lines up to fill this financial void. August will also see global wars accelerate, but under the disguise of high-stakes diplomatic negotiations. We may watch out for some confusing and surprising political alliances between normally conflicting groups, or we may also see things like trade wars or trade sanctions being used as diplomatic negotiating techniques instead of outright bullets. And when that doesn't work, we may see some countries throw in the old just war ideology, meaning disguising their reason for going into battle as the need to defend an oppressed people or to protect their national territory lines. Think of places like Gaza. Meanwhile, the world around watching may wonder what justice really looks like when we're watching people and average civilians from all sides still suffer in spite of governmental claims to be doing the right thing for moral reasons. And of course, we'll dive into the August 8th pop culture phenomenon dubbed as the Lionsgate portal, so that we can uncover what actually happens on the acclaimed 8/8 date and what doesn't. Hi friends, and welcome to August 2025. This is the Futurecast, and I'm your host and cosmic coach, Maurielle Laurenne. In this video, we will cover the geocosmic energy trends for the month ahead and how they will affect your life, relationships, business, the economy, and the world at large. For those of you needing a retrograde recovery session, my appointments for August are in the scheduling link below. All right, friends, with these geocosmic themes in mind, I'm ready if you are, so let's dive in. July 30th to August 25th brings the first money move in the marketplace as Venus, the planet of value, shifts into the constellation of Cancer. Venus in Cancer points to the more emotional and intuitive sides of money. So July 30th to August 25th isn't about showy displays of wealth or grandiose spending. but rather about the emotional safety and security that money seems to provide. It brings a wave of caution and reflection. Consumers will be seeking investments and business opportunities that feel safe and emotionally fulfilling, rather than risky or simply profitable. 5 trends we'll likely see in the economy from July 30th to August 25th include the increase of emotionally based spending, a wave of financial caution, the increase of family and private office investments, the emotional value of historical or heritage assets, and the revival of local economies. For businesses, emotional connection to customers will drive more success in August. The key in August is to understand how money is more than just a number, but it can be a vessel for legacy, safety, and emotional satisfaction. Money is one of the top 3 questions that clients always ask me about in private sessions. The other 2 top questions usually being around life purpose and relationships. But when it comes to money, money is important to talk about because it's usually the number 1 reason that you won't dare to live the life that you really dream of. Money seems to be the bridge between the here and the there, where you are now and where you want to be. So talking about money and addressing financial fear is crucial in terms of helping you have the courage to move forward on things that you really want, whether it's how you can have the courage to leave a corporate job that you hate and go out and be an entrepreneur, or how you can find a business or career that feels more aligned with your life purpose. For some of you, it might be how to have the courage to leave a relationship that doesn't suit you and know that you can financially take care of yourself and your kids. For others of you who are really financially successful, you're not so concerned about constantly making more money because you got plenty of that, but a lot of times the big fear is getting screwed financially in business deals. So whether it's about growing your income or protecting your income, money is an important topic for us to talk about. So if we need to talk about money, then click the link for my Wealth by Design session and let's get on it. On a personal note, the shift of the value planet Venus into the intuitive and feeling constellation of Cancer shifts our focus to personal relationships and self-worth. We may notice that it helps to soften our edges this month as we're interacting with other people and really wanting to honor the feelings that are coming up between ourselves and others. It can inspire us to be a little more vulnerable and open, and that can lead to greater trust and intimacy. The other thing is this alignment favors a sense of emotional nourishment over external validation. So you may be looking at things like how you make money or the career that you've chosen and going, does this really fulfill me no matter how great it looks on the outside? This period of softening activates your emotional core. So you can expect to embrace things with a lot more feeling and vulnerability during those dates of the month than you normally would. And it also asks you to look at the life you built and going, here's what I built, but is it what I really need in order to feel safe, valued, and nourished? The month moves ahead with the holiday or holy day of Lammas on August 1st. Lammas is the midpoint between the summer and fall seasons, and in ancient times it was celebrated as a grain festival. So symbolically, we might think of this time of year as the time of the initial harvest, the first grains, Mother Earth beginning to give us the first fruits of things that were planted in the early spring. But in that way, it does bring up our relationship to food around the globe. And we might turn our attention, prayers, and voices to the people of Gaza, who are currently suffering without food and being exposed to systematic starvation as a form of weaponized genocide by the government. So offer your prayers, use your voice, or send donations, and when possible, send food. In the esoteric tradition, grain is an important symbol as part of the death and rebirth cycle because the grain gives its life in order to feed us. So harvesting is actually an act of sacrifice. It's an act of death that is a natural part of sustaining other life. So Lammas is often popularized as this celebration of abundance, and many people do often feel that their harvest is very ripe at this time of year. Things they've been working on since the spring, relationships, projects, money, people seem to be so close to popping off over the edge, and will do so in a few weeks or a few months before the end of the year. But ironically, the less spoken aspect of Lammas is a lot of people feel death during this time in late July and early August, because things that are getting in the way of their future self becoming go through a dying cycle. And so whether you're on the rejuvenation, harvesting life side of Lammas, or maybe you're in the death cycle of Lammas, know that the harvest is an important part of sacrifice, and that this new version of who you are is really trying to come online right now. So you may want to ask yourself, what part of yourself or your lifestyle or what you think is important needs to be sacrificed so that the future you can come to life? On the death cycle aspect of Lamma, it's been really interesting how several clients of mine have lost jobs and had financial freezes over the past month and a half. I've had a couple of clients in real estate, corporate consulting, and government services who either suddenly got released from their job after long-term tenures, or feel like they're just in a major financial freeze in spite of being incredibly skilled at what they do. And it's interesting because all of those people have known for a really long time, based on their sessions with me, that they've needed to switch into careers that are more aligned with their life path. And so the universe has kind of stepped in to kill the opportunity for them to keep pursuing their old career path and force their hand towards a new direction where their spirit can be of better service. And as those clients from real estate and corporate consulting and government services have allowed the death to happen, they have started to see opportunities pop up in new industries that are more aligned with their personality and their purpose. And I'm really excited to see them make some agreements and sign some contracts here in August that are going to allow them to open the door to this totally new direction. The month's energy takes another shift on August 6th, when the action planet Mars moves into the collaboration sign of Libra for about 2 months, from August 6th to September 22nd. On the world stage, we can expect the idea of diplomatic warfare for the next 2 months, meaning nations will be engaged in high-stakes negotiations and probably diplomatic tactics like economic sanctions, proxy wars, cyber conflict, rather than just outright bullets flinging at each other. We might see some elaborate peace talks and some questionable alliances that leave us going, I wonder how those two ever got together. And when the peace talks and complicated alliances don't work out, we could just see some nations go into the idea of a just war, meaning the nation will position itself as a champion of justice or a protector of the people, and that morality is their reason for going in with tanks and guns and doing what they wanted to do anyways. So we'll be kind of exploring the idea of what justice and fairness actually looks like and how peaceful is peace. On a personal level, the shift of Mars into Libra favors partnerships, romance, friendship, collaboration, and joint business ventures. So you're in the mood to do it together. You may find that you're reaching out to other people for help or for their input. And this can be an excellent time to advance some kind of mutual venture. But it's also a really smart time to size up your partner. I mean, are you seeing them through rose-colored glasses, or are they really a fit? August 6th through September 22nd is also a really good time to hone your skill of persuasion. This will help you when leading a team, persuading other people of your vision, or even pitching to investors and clients. So don't be afraid to pull out your gift of gab and the grace of charm. Furthermore, August and September are going to see an uptick in the areas of romance and dating. Which leads us to the most anticipated date this month, the August 8th pop culture sensation known as the 8/8 Lionsgate portal. Your TikTok, Instagram, Facebook, and Google homepages will be blowing up with sensational content so that on this date, a portal in the sky opens up between us and the star Sirius to help you manifest your wildest dreams. Some spiritualists will say that the 3 pyramids in Egypt were built to mimic the 3 stars in Orion's belt, the star Sirius being the brightest of them. The numerologists will concur this by saying that the date 8/8 is a powerful repeating number. But here's why I think the pulp culture phenomenon of the Lionsgate portal is a fraud. Number 1, the month of August didn't exist when the Egyptians built the pyramid. The month of August wasn't invented until 8 BC. That's long after the pyramids were built. It was invented by the Roman Emperor Augustus Caesar so that he could name something after himself. So no, the Egyptians did not pick the modern date of August 8th, 8/8, as a date where, conveniently, of repeating numbers, their Egyptian pyramids would align with the star Sirius. That, my friends, is the brainchild of our modern Gregorian calendar meeting pop culture spiritual enthusiasm. Number 2, the star Sirius helped sync the Egyptian calendar to the Nile River. The Egyptians had their own calendar. In fact, they had 2. The first was the civil calendar synced to the solar cycle. The second was a religious calendar synced to the lunar cycles. These calendars were further synced to the Nile River, an essential life force for these desert climate people. And yes, they did track the star Sirius as part of their calendar calculations, but they did it because the star Sirius's heliacal rising also coincided with the annual rising of the Nile River. Basically, the Egyptians made the star Sirius important because spotting it in the sky meant the rainy season was going to begin, so their agricultural cycle could finally start, and they weren't going to die of drought in the desert. The star Sirius was about agriculture for the Egyptians, not manifestation boards. Perhaps the primary portal that the star Sirius opens is a waterway, so that these people could grow food to put in their mouths. Number 3, the actual date of the appearance of the star Sirius changes every year. The opening of the so-called Lionsgate portal period is based on the actual date of the first observable appearance in the morning of the star Sirius across the eastern horizon line according to your latitude, not the theoretical date of 8/8. Since the Earth wobbles, that actual date changes every year. 5,000 years ago, the morning appearance of the star Sirius used to occur in mid-June, but because of the Earth's wobble, a scientific term known as precession, the rising of the star Sirius has shifted into late summer. In fact, if you're a modern-day Egyptian, the Lionsgate portal already happened for you back on July 6th when the Sun and Sirius were astronomically aligned for the city of Luxor. But don't worry, if you live in a city on the same latitude as Chicago, the star Sirius has yet to first appear for you coming up on August 11th, so there's plenty of time to get ready for your Lionsgate hoorah. For the rest of you, you'll have to stand out in your front lawn this summer and wait for the star's first morning appearance at your home latitude to know when the cosmic lion is going to be roaring in your direction. So, does 8/8 hold any validity? Only in collective consciousness. Yes, numerologists will argue that the repeating numbers 8/8 are powerful for money, success, and business. And yes, Pythagoras, the mathematician, did teach us that mathematics is indeed the language of the universe and that numbers do hold very powerful resonances. But in this case, what is most powerful is the amassed belief of the population making that date significant. It's kind of like Christmas, because millions of people are all agreeing to celebrate on an agreed upon date. The power of our collective intention does actually hold significant influence. Scientific studies have validated the power of prayer, showing that when large groups of people focus their attention positively during a stated duration of time, there shows to be statistical declines in negative effects like violence and emergencies in the local surrounding areas during that contained period of time. So if a bunch of people around the world choose to celebrate the date 8/8 as a time for meaningful positivity and prayer, even if that date is a little astronomically inaccurate for their geographic location, then I do still believe that we can have some great positive effects. In which case, pray on, my friends. All right, friends, thank you for joining me for part 1 of the August Futurecast. I hope that you've enjoyed this video, especially our deep dive into the Lionsgate portal. If you like this video, give us the like button, share it with another independent thinker, and stay tuned for part 2 of the video, which will be released after the Lionsgate portal. All right, my friends, until next time, when our stars align.